Hello everyone and welcome back to the Scots Scheme with Macalester College football coach Tony Jennison. The Scots Scheme is a weekly program that gives you, the fans, the opportunity to ask the Macalester coach questions about the Scots, football or sports in general, or to just seek the coach's wisdom about life events that may be going on out there. This week we have an exciting program for you as the coach talks about last week's hard-fought game against Carroll University. He discusses what he's expecting out of St. Norbert this week, and he shares with us a little insights about his 18th birthday. So let's get right to the Scots Scheme. So let's welcome back Coach Jennison for this week. Coach, let's first of all begin with team injury and updates from you.
We're actually pretty healthy. We, as I said last week, we got a couple players back, and we're hoping for a few others. We'll see what happens, but overall, I think we are who we are at this point of the season, and we had some early injuries that those guys are not coming back this year. Some on defense that really hurt us, but we're banged up like everybody else, with bumps and bruises, but it's not going to keep anybody out of the game. So we're actually in pretty good shape.
Great back and forth battle with Carroll this last weekend. If you compare to last season's game against them, you jumped out to the big lead just like you did this year. They battle back and take the lead. You take the lead, they get it back. Tell us a little bit about the game from your perspective.
Well, I was really proud of how the young men in our program responded because, as you had said, Rob, we did have the lead. We lost it in the third quarter, but we came back and took the lead. So we actually felt, as a coaching staff, and I think our players felt the same thing, because I've heard some of them talking about just the feeling on the sidelines. But I feel as though it was one of our best games, probably our best game all year in terms of how we played together as a team. The young men in our program continued to believe throughout the course of the game. They played together. They never got down on one side of the ball for giving up a score or for not picking up a first down or not punching it in or whatever it may be. So I was very encouraged. I actually I slept pretty well over the course of the weekend because I thought we battled very hard. I thought we played hard in a tough and physical game against a quality opponent in the rain, so the weather wasn't great. But we didn't make any excuses. We came out and we played hard. We just didn't execute well enough. We didn't get it done. And our players were very disappointed in that. But we gave it everything we had, and we're certainly not going to hang our heads because of that.
It looked like the offense was having trouble sustaining drives, just 6 first downs, 192 yards of offense. What were some things that they were doing that was making it difficult for your offense?
Well, they're talented. That's probably the number one thing. They're very good on the D-line. They've got athleticism in the secondary. Their linebackers can run and physical. So I think the talent they had on their defense is a big part of that. And St. Norbert is going to provide a similar challenge. They're very good defensively as well. I would rank them pretty consistent, pretty close to Carroll in terms of their defensive talent and whatnot. I think they're both right there in terms of the top of the North Division. But we have had a lot of people in and out of the lineup on offense, especially the offensive line. I think that's one of the things that's really hurt us this year. We just really haven't had continuity in our offensive line. And I think back, I don't know the statistics on this, but my guess is that we haven't had the same offensive line consistently, probably for a maximum of 2 games this year. So that's been an issue. You need to have that continuity, and unfortunately we haven't.
Andrew Smith had the big pass play for you and actually looked really good in the time that he had on offense.
He did.
So are you saying that he's going to get more of a shot with your team now?
I think that's fair to say. He had a little bit of a package last weekend, which is what we've done with Alec Beatty throughout the course of the season, and Andrew did a really nice job with that. You noted the one pass play that was a touchdown. He also completed another third down pass that was just shy of a first down, and then ran for another that he picked up, I think, 6, 7, 8 yards on the play. It was fourth and 10 at the time, or 4th and 12 or 11 or something like that. I can't remember, so a few yards short, but he was very effective and really did a nice job. So I do believe that the offensive coaches have plans for expanding his role a little bit. We still plan on playing the other quarterbacks as well, and kind of settled into the routine where we've got little packages for each quarterback. So to try to take advantage of what they do well. It's kind of a unique concept. I don't know of many teams in America that are playing 3 different quarterbacks at one time, but it seems to be the best thing for our team right now in our offense. And what I really appreciate about the young men in our program is that they've embraced that. The quarterbacks have embraced that, and I think it's great when multiple people can contribute. So we're going to stick with it.
Glenn Hartford had a big day for you from the linebacker position, and over the last few weeks has really been coming on. What are you seeing out of him?
Well, Glenn's as tough of a young man as you're going to find, and he works very hard. He's very committed. He has grit and toughness, and he plays that way on the field. So you're going to get his best effort all the time. It's going to be a very physical effort, and he's always there to do whatever the team needs him to do. So it's not a surprise at all. I think Glenn's been very consistent since his time here at Macalester. He's a junior now. He's been a 3-year starter for us at our outside linebacker position, and he's been very consistent, and he continues to get better as he gets more experience and as he's getting bigger, stronger, and more explosive, which he does every year. So no surprises there. He is playing at a very high level.
St. Norbert enters 4-0 in the division itself. They're the North Division champions. What are you seeing out of them that's really impressing you this year?
They're just very balanced. They've got a lot of talent. They've got a huge roster, which is certainly I'm envious of, a little jealous of, but they're talented. They've got a strong running game. They've got a big offensive line that moves people. They can run the football. They've got great receivers that are athletic. They've got good tight ends. They've got a plethora of tailbacks that can carry the ball and pick up yards, that can block, that can run, that can catch out of the backfield. So they're just very balanced. So the challenging part with that is if you try to take away one part of their offense, they have other parts that can hurt you. If you say we're going to shut down the quarterback from passing it to his receivers, well, they have other people that can hurt you. They can hurt you in the run game, or they have tight ends that can catch the ball or backs out of the backfield. So they pose a lot of problems with that because they're very balanced. They have talent at all positions, which is why they're undefeated right now. And they're certainly well coached as well. Dan McCarty's done a great job in his first year at St. Norbert. He's going to get my vote for North Division Coach of the Year, and he's well deserving of the championship that they've got now.
Quarterback Jack Becker has really played well this season. Hasn't made really any mistakes either. He's been really smart with the ball. How do you try to limit his effectiveness?
Well, we try to give him different looks. Try to mix up coverages at him, bring a little pressure at him here and there, play off a little bit, player-based stuff. So just try to give him different looks so he's not comfortable in what he's seeing. Try to disguise some things that we're doing, and hope that maybe you have a call where they're trying to hit something on the outside and we're bringing extra pressure in that area or whatnot. So hopefully we can get a couple breaks and make him uncomfortable, and maybe get a couple of takeaways. I know that he's been really good with the ball. He's just a sophomore too, which is really impressive. It's his first year starting for him. He's a talented athlete. He throws the ball well. He's savvy in the pocket, but when things break down, he's athletic enough to pick up the first down with his feet too. So he's a very talented quarterback. They've got a bright future with him coming back for a couple more years, no question about it.
They have 4 guys that really can run with the football, including their quarterback. 2 of the guys are basically switching off carries. I believe that it's Brad Bookmeyer and Elijah Ford. They present quite an interesting force to try to stop. So what do you try to do to prepare yourself? And I'm assuming that Marshall's kind of having a tough week looking at that.
He has a tough week every week because of he's pretty uptight about trying to stop people, which makes him a great coach. And so he doesn't sleep much any week, but certainly a week like this where they have so much balance on offense and they have so many guys that can hurt you, again, at all positions. They're probably the best offensive line we've seen all year. They've got great size. They move well. They've got very talented receivers, again, running backs, and they're great at the quarterback position, and a couple tight ends that are really good too, and a fullback. So they do pose challenges. Again, we just have to be sound. We have to give them different looks. We have to make plays when those opportunities present themselves, and we have to play sound defense. We have to play as one unit. And if we can do that, obviously we'll be okay. But they do pose problems. they're a very talented team, and as I said before, I'm not sure that we're all getting a whole lot of sleep this week.
They have two guys on their defense that have come up with 9 picks this season. So what do you try to say to your quarterbacks to make sure that they don't add to that number?
We tell our quarterbacks we want to end every drive with a kick. We basically either want to punt or we want to be kicking an extra point. So we have to be smart with the football, and our quarterbacks know that. Again, the young guys have limited roles with our team. We're not asking them to take over our whole offense. We're just asking them to do certain things that they're good at, to take advantage of their strengths. And then the upperclassmen, we give them a little bit more, but they can handle a little bit more just because they're more experienced and they understand our offense maybe a little bit better than some of the young guys do. So we have to be smart with the football, and we have to be sturdy up front. We have to give our quarterbacks time to throw the ball. And if we don't do that, then obviously it's going to be a challenge. We also have to run the football a little bit too to lighten the to try to open up some passing lanes. So we have to have that balance on offense that they have, that we just talked about. And if we can run the football and move the chains, there's no reason why we can't be very effective against them. But it will be challenging. They're the best team we've seen all year, no question about it.
We head to our fan questions for this week. So we first of all begin with Eric from St. Paul, who asks, he's heard the two of us talk about players maybe not being as hungry this season as they were last year. Do you feel the coaches are as hungry this season?
Well, first of all, I don't know that I would have said our players are not as hungry. I know we had that conversation once about something like that, and I think my response was that time will tell. I'm not sure. And I think this weekend we saw that our players were very hungry. When it was a big game where had we won it, we would have been playing for a North Division championship this weekend. So when the stakes were the highest, our team was at its best. This past weekend against Carroll was the best game that we've had as a full team. Now, it might not be our best game offensively or our best game defensively, but our sideline was very focused. They were very into it. They were very engaged in the game, and that's certainly something that we were very excited as coaches to see. So if I have ever said that our players weren't as hungry this year, that's then I misspoke or somebody took it the wrong way. So certainly want to clear that up. But as far as our coaches being as hungry this year, I'm the same as I am every year. I don't think I'm any different. I'm the same coach as I was 5 years ago when we won 4 games or 3 games or 2 games or whatever it was, and the same coach I was last year. So I don't think I change at all. Certainly the dynamics of the team change a little bit, and the leadership of the team changes at some points. And this year we lost a big senior class. Our team is different. We had a lot of those players from last year that played very meaningful downs over the course of 3 and 4 years, and to lose some of that leadership can be challenging. And we have a lot of young players in bigger roles this year where they just don't have as much experience. So that's been a little bit of our struggle, but I don't think the coaches have changed at all. I mean, we're the same staff as we've basically been. We've added a few new coaches, but I think we're the same as we've been every year. You'd have to ask our players to be sure.
Yeah, don't let the fact that Coach Jennison's wearing Armani suits on the sideline make you think he's changed.
That's right.
No, just kidding.
That's right. I would look good doing that, though, I'll tell you that.
I bet. Jack from Minneapolis asked, the coach at Arizona State is accused of stealing the opposing team's signs. Do you think that is wrong at all?
Yes, I think it's wrong. I just don't think it's the right way you go about things. So we don't do that. Never saw any value in it. If I've got to sit there and think about their signs anyway, it's taking the focus off of what I can really control, which is our team. So I just don't think it's a good use of your time on Saturdays.
Vic from St. Paul asks, he hears a lot of people talking about getting rid of the kickoff because most injuries happen during that play and so many result in touchbacks. What do you think about that?
Well, I think everyone's very sensitive right now to the discussions about concussions and what's going on with that. So, there's a lot of ideas out there. Maybe it's a good idea. I know this. I know that the most fun I've ever had in football was being on the kickoff teams, both in high school and in college, because you're basically running it as fast as humanly possible. You're trying to avoid people, and then you're then you're trying to hit people. There's nothing better than being on a kickoff team. That's the most fun in any sports that I've ever played, is being on the kickoff team. So you'd be taking out a very fun part of the game, but if it's for safety and people determined that it's what's needed, I'd be for it. I'd trust other people. I don't think we need to get to that point, though. I think that this concussion stuff, it's got everyone's attention right now, and people are talking about it and coming up with a lot of ideas. But I think time will tell as we learn more about head injuries, what we need to do for the game of football.
Do you see, and I don't know if you have some kind of personal insight in this way, but are there as many injuries at the Division III level on these kind of kickoffs that you'd see normally in an NFL weekend or something?
I really don't know what the percentages are at the NFL level or Division I football. I can't recall an injury this year on our team on a kickoff, though. I know there's been some big hits at times, and some guys have come off and kind of open their eyes real big and saying, "Whew, that was a good one," when they come off. But they're fine to go, and our trainers look at them and they're fine. And I can remember that once actually this year, but I can't remember any injuries on kickoffs. So no, I don't really see it as being a problem.
Yes, I wonder if maybe people are, because they see that ESPN blasted out there or something, so they see it as a bigger deal, but maybe it's not really a big deal.
And also at the Division III level, we don't have a lot of kicks that go in the end zone for touchbacks. And I also think because the kicking games are not as strong, you see teams that try to do different styles of kicks. They'll try pooch kicks and they'll try squib kicks and different things like that. So it's not always these deep kicks back in the end zone, and guys are getting a 20-yard running start before there's collisions. I don't know that you see that as much at our level as maybe you would at the NFL. Certainly you don't see the touchbacks like you do in the NFL.
Our last two questions come from Sean from Hoboken. The first one of them is, how did your experience with high school football shape the way you coach today?
Well, my high school football experience was everything to me. The relationships I had with my teammates, the coaches, it made me really, I think it was a huge influence on who I am today, and it gave me my love of football, my passion for football, that made me want to do it in college. I was a much better high school baseball player than I was a football player, but my football experience was so meaningful in high school, so rewarding, that when I went to college, that's what I wanted to do. And obviously had a great experience in college as well, which is why I'm here today. So without high school football, no question, good old Mayo High School in Rochester, Minnesota, with my teammates, Sean from Hoboken being one of them, I certainly would not be where I am today.
Our last question is, tell us who showed up to your high school lunchroom on your 18th birthday, and do you plan on carrying on this tradition with your children?
Sean from Hoboken again, huh? On my 18th birthday, I had a chicken show up to the high school lunchroom, and I believe that chicken sang me happy birthday, or got everybody in the lunchroom to sing me happy birthday. It's a little bit fuzzy right now, but that chicken has been a sign of it's given us a lot of laughs over the years, and I typically get friends who will send me pictures of chickens on my birthday because they remember that so well. In terms of if I want to carry on that tradition, I don't know that I'm mean enough to do that to my own children because of how embarrassed I was that day. So I think I'd like to go have my children have a high school experience where they don't have to regret the same or have being embarrassed like I was on that day. So I probably won't do that, but who knows, when they get older, I'm sure it'll be a thought that crosses my mind. So we'll see. Time will tell.
That's great. Thanks for joining us this week.
Thanks, Rob. Take care.
We want to thank Coach Jennison for joining us on the Scots Game this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Macalester coach, please send them to us at TonyJennison@minorleaguesportsupport.com. That's Tony Jennison at minorleaguesportsupport.com. Please have your questions to us by Tuesday afternoon so we can give the Macalester coach a little time to review them before we record our show on Wednesday afternoon. I want to thank you for joining us this week. I'm Rob Paneer, the managing editor at the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll look for you next week at the Scots Scheme.